15 years later, I still can't help but feel inferior to my husband's dead wife. Every year on March 14th, he takes the day off work. Doesn't matter if it's a weekday or if we have plans. He drives 45 minutes to the cemetery and sits there for hours, just him and her headstone. We've been married for 13 years. We have 2 kids together, a boy who's 11 and a girl who's 8. But her photo is still on our mantle, the one from their wedding day where she's laughing in a white dress that cost $3,000. Everyone tells me I'm patient, understanding. They say not every woman would be okay with this. They don't know I'm not okay. They don't know I'm just tired. We all grew up together. Same friend group since middle school. Everyone knew she and him were endgame. I liked him first, but I kept it to myself because what chance did I have? She was perfect. Volunteered at soup kitchens, organized fundraisers, made everyone feel special. They started dating sophomore year, got married at 24, then 2 years later she got sick. Stage 4. She fought for 6 months before she died at 26 years old. He was destroyed. I was there for him because that's what friends do. A year and a half later we started dating. Another year and we got married. I thought maybe I could make him happy again, but there's always been this feeling like I'm living in someone else's life. Like if she hadn't died, my husband would be her husband and my kids would be their kids, and I'd just be alone somewhere. Last week I was cleaning out the attic. We're trying to make space for a home office. I found a box in the corner labeled with her name in his handwriting. I'd seen it before but never opened it. This time I did. The first few things were what I expected. Their wedding album, a sweater that still somehow smelled like perfume, some jewelry. Then I found a stack of letters tied with a rubber band. I know I shouldn't have read them, but I did. The first letter was from him to her. Sweet things about their future, about the kids they'd have, about growing old together. It made my stomach hurt. Then I opened the next one. It was from her, but it wasn't to my husband. It was addressed to someone else, some guy. The letter was dated January 18th, 3 months before she died. She talked about leaving once she beat the cancer, about starting fresh somewhere new, about how she'd been pretending to be happy for years. I kept reading, found 16 more letters, all to this guy, all planning a future that didn't include my husband. She wrote about how she'd married him because it made sense, because everyone expected it, because she didn't want to disappoint people, but she never actually loved him the way everyone thought she did. One letter mentioned how exhausting it was to keep up the perfect wife act. Another talked about how she'd met this guy at the hospital during her first round of chemo, how he was the only person who made her feel alive. The dates on the letters. She was writing these while my husband sat by her hospital bed every single night for 6 months, while he held her hand during treatments, while he sold his car to help pay for her medical bills that insurance wouldn't cover. $47,000 in debt. That's what he went into for her treatment. I found the statements in the same box. He's still paying it off. I sat in that attic for 3 hours just holding those letters. 15 years. He'd been visiting a lie for 15 years. I confronted him yesterday, waited until the kids were asleep, put the letters on the kitchen table, and asked if he knew. He stared at them for 20 minutes without speaking. I thought maybe he'd be angry that I'd gone through the box, that I'd invaded her privacy even though she's been dead for 15 years. Finally, he looked up at me. His eyes were red, but he wasn't crying. He just looked tired. He said he knew. He'd found them a month after she died while packing up her things. He read every single one. I asked why he never said anything, why he kept visiting, why he kept her photo up, why he let me feel like I'd never measure up to her memory. He said he didn't know how to stop, that after everything he'd sacrificed, everyone expected him to be the grieving widower, that admitting the truth felt like admitting he'd wasted those years, that the perfect love story everyone believed in was fake. He said he kept going to the cemetery because he didn't know what else to do with March 14th, that it became a habit, that it was easier than explaining why he'd stopped. This morning he asked if I wanted to take the photo down. His voice was quiet, almost scared. I said yes. He took it off the mantle himself, put it in a drawer somewhere. I didn't ask where. For the first time in 15 years, he smiled at me the way I'd always wanted. Not the smile of a man who settled, the smile of a man who chose me.
What started off as a small lie but then snowballed into, "This is my life now?" I accidentally said "you too" when the Starbucks barista said, "Enjoy your coffee." But instead of cringing and walking away like a normal person, she looked genuinely confused and said, "Wait, what did you say?" My brain completely short-circuited. I panicked and blurted out, "I said I'll bring you coffee too sometime." She lit up with this huge smile and said, "Oh my god, that's really sweet. What's your name?" Now I'm committed to this insane promise. I came back the next Tuesday with a venti caramel macchiato. Her name tag said Emma. She was so genuinely happy she teared up a little and gave me her number saying, "Text me so I know this actually happened." I figured I'd send one polite text and let it naturally fade away. But Emma started texting me paragraphs about her terrible shift, her nightmare roommate Stephanie who never cleaned dishes and left rotting food everywhere, how my random gesture of kindness completely made her weak and gave her hope that good people still exist. I felt genuinely bad for her situation, so I kept responding with supportive messages and stupid memes to cheer her up. 3 weeks later, I'm bringing Emma coffee every Tuesday at exactly 2:47 p.m. during her break. She starts calling me her coffee angel and introducing me to her coworkers as the sweetest guy who randomly brings me coffee for absolutely no reason except pure kindness. The whole coffee shop thinks we're dating. Her manager keeps asking when I'm going to officially ask her out. I'm too deep to correct anyone now. Then her mom visited from Ohio for Emma's birthday weekend. Emma insisted I meet her, saying I was the thoughtful one who brightens her Tuesdays when everything else in life feels overwhelming. Her mom grabbed me in this bone-crushing hug and whispered, "You're exactly what Emma needs right now, sweetheart. She talks about you constantly." That's when I learned Emma had been struggling with severe anxiety and panic attacks for 2 years. Our Tuesday coffee ritual was literally the only consistent positive thing in her week that she could count on. She'd started scheduling her therapy appointments around our meetups because they gave her something concrete to look forward to during her darkest moments. By month 3, I'm invited to her 23rd birthday party at some trendy rooftop bar. All her friends are calling me coffee guy and telling me detailed stories about how much happier Emma's been since I started dating her. I didn't have the heart to correct them when they're all so genuinely grateful. Her best friend Sarah pulled me aside and whispered, "I don't know what magic you worked, but Emma's been like a completely different person. She actually laughs at our jokes now instead of just forcing smiles." The breaking point came when Emma finally got promoted to shift supervisor after months of anxiety about applying for the position. She wanted to celebrate at some fancy Italian restaurant downtown that she'd been saving up for. "I honestly couldn't have done this without our Tuesday tradition," she said, tears streaming down her face. "You've been my anchor when everything felt completely impossible. You showed me that I deserve good things happening to me me randomly. I don't know how to properly thank you for saving my life. I realized I wasn't just bringing coffee anymore. I was accidentally someone's primary emotional support system and the foundation of their mental health recovery. Emma's therapist had apparently told her that having consistent positive social interactions was absolutely crucial for her healing process, and somehow I'd become that irreplaceable person in her life. Now I'm 4 months deep into being someone's weekly lifeline because I couldn't handle 30 seconds of social awkwardness at a coffee counter like a normal human being. Emma just texted me a 3-paragraph essay about how excited she is for me to meet her parents this weekend. They're flying in from Cincinnati specifically to meet the coffee angel who changed their daughter's life completely and helped her find herself again after losing hope. Her dad, Richard, apparently wants to take me golfing on Sunday morning to properly thank the young man who brought our Emma back to us when we thought we'd lost her forever. Her mom has been cooking my favorite meal all week, except Emma made up what my favorite food was because she was too embarrassed to admit she didn't actually know me that well. I'm completely trapped in being someone's accidental hero over a misheard "you too" that spiraled into becoming the most important person in a stranger's mental health journey and recovery process. The worst part? I actually look forward to Tuesdays now too, and I think I'm falling for someone who's in love with a version of me that doesn't really exist.